The distress signal. The merchant vessel's silver wing shook violently as another blast struck its hull. Captain Vorn gripped his command chair with all four arms, his blue skin pale with fear. Around him, his crew scrambled at their stations, trying to keep the ship together. "Shields at 15%, the navigation officer shouted. His voice cracked with panic. "They're coming around for another pass," the sensor operator warned. Outside the view screen, 3 pirate vessels moved like hungry predators. There, black hulls bore the red slash marks of the Crimson Fang pirates. Everyone in this sector knew that mark. It meant no survivors. Captain Vorn's heart sank, both of them. His ship carried medical supplies for the colony on Kepler 7. 20,000 beings would die without those supplies. But his crew would die first if help didn't come. "Send the distress signal," he ordered. His voice sounded hollow. "All frequencies." "Sir, we're in dead space." "Nobody patrols here." "Send it anyway," Vorn snapped. Hope was foolish, but it was all they had. The communications officer's tentacles flew across the controls. The universal distress signal went out, screaming into the void. It carried their location, their situation, and their desperate plea for help. For 30 seconds, nothing came back but static. Then, impossibly, a response. Merchant Vessel Silver. "Wing, this is Captain Rex of the rescue ship Thunderstrike. We received your distress call. Hold tight." "We're 8 minutes out." The bridge went silent. Every crew member stared at the communication panel. Did they just say 8 minutes? A navigator whispered. "Nothing can move that fast through dead space." The communications officer's tentacles trembled as he checked the signal. "Sir, the identification codes, they're human." The word hung in the air like a death sentence. Every species knew about humans. Deathworlders. Beings from a planet so hostile that it shouldn't support life. They were predators who hunted in packs. They could survive injuries that would kill anyone else. Some said they were monsters who ate their enemies. "Captain," the weapons officer spoke carefully, "the pirates might be better than humans." Vorn looked at his crew. They were all thinking the same thing. Stories spread across every spaceport about human brutality, about how they could track prey for days without rest, about how they enjoyed war so much they practiced it against each other when no enemies were available. Another blast rocked the ship. The lights flickered and died. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red light. "Shields are gone," someone screamed. "They're demanding surrender," the communications officer reported. "They want us to prepare for boarding." Vorn closed both his eyes. The pirates would take their cargo, sell his crew as slaves, and use his ship for parts. The humans might do worse. But at least the humans were still minutes away. Maybe they could surrender to the pirates. And Silverwing, this is Captain Rex. We're tracking 3 hostile vessels on your position. Do not surrender. Repeat, do not surrender. We're 4 minutes out now. 4 minutes? How had they cut their time in half? "Sir, they're requesting tactical data," the communications officer said. "Send them everything," Vorn decided. If humans wanted to fight the pirates, let them fight each other. Maybe his crew could escape in the chaos. The next 3 minutes felt like hours. The pirates demanded they lower their boarding ramp. Vorn stalled, claiming technical problems. His crew huddled at their stations, some praying to gods they hadn't spoken to in years. Then the human ship appeared. It was smaller than Vorn expected. Where the pirate vessels were sleek and menacing, the human ship looked almost crude, angular, functional. It dropped out of hyperspace, so close to the pirates that it triggered proximity alarms. "This is Captain Rex to Crimson Fang vessels. You are engaged in acts of piracy against a civilian ship. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." The human's voice was calm, casual even, like he was discussing the weather. The pirates' response came as laser fire. Green beams of death lanced toward the human ship. The thunderstrike didn't even try to dodge. Its shields flared briefly, absorbing the hits like raindrops. Asterisk the boarding action. The thunderstrike fired back once. It wasn't an energy weapon like the pirates used. The human ship launched something solid, something that moved so fast the sensors barely tracked it. The projectile punched through the lead pirate ship's shields like they were made of paper. It tore through the hull and exploded inside. The pirate vessel listed to one side, venting atmosphere and debris. Kinetic weapons, the Silver Wing's weapons officer breathed. They're using mass drivers. The other two pirate ships pulled back, suddenly cautious. Vorn watched the tactical display with growing amazement. The human ship positioned itself between the pirates and the merchant vessel, one ship holding off two attackers. Silver Wing, prepare for boarding. Captain Rex's voice came through the com. We're sending a team to assist. Boarding? Vorn's navigator turned 3 shades paler. They're boarding us? Before anyone could respond, something struck their hull. Not an attack-a-boarding pod. The humans had launched it while everyone watched the battle. They're at airlock 3, the security chief reported. His voice shook. Should we? Should we let them in? Vorn thought about refusing. But the human ship was the only thing keeping the pirates away. Open it, he ordered. The inner airlock door hissed open. 3 figures stepped through. They were smaller than expected. Where most species averaged 7 or 8 feet tall, these humans barely reached 6. They wore black armor that seemed to absorb light. Each carried weapons, not elegant energy rifles, but brutal-looking projectile weapons. The one in front removed his helmet. He had dark skin, short black hair, and eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. Captain Vorn? I'm Captain Rex. This is Tom. He gestured to a pale human with strange red hair. And Maya, the third. Human, a female with brown skin and black hair tied back, nodded. We're here to help, Rex said simply. The artificial gravity in the merchant ship was set to 1.3 standard, comfortable for most species, but challenging for some. The humans moved through it like it was nothing, where Vorn's crew had to lean. Forward to walk, the humans stood straight and moved with fluid grace. You're wounded? Maya asked. She carried a pack marked with a red cross. Where are they? Medical bay, Vorn managed. Deck 2. Maya was already moving. She didn't ask for directions or an escort. Somehow, she seemed to know exactly where to go. Tom set down a heavy case and opened it. Inside were devices Vorn didn't recognize. Captain, I need to know your ship's layout. Access points, maintenance shafts, anywhere the pirates might try to breach. Vorn had his engineer transfer the ship schematics. Tom studied them for exactly 10 seconds, then started moving. He began placing devices at strategic points, humming something under his breath. Are those explosives? The security chief asked, alarmed. Proximity mines, Tom said cheerfully. Don't worry, they're smart. They won't target your crew. He paused. Well, probably won't. Just stay away from these markers. Rex stood at the bridge's tactical station, studying the pirate ships. They're regrouping. They'll try a coordinated assault next. He touched his ear. Mike, you seeing this? A voice came through the bridge speakers. Yeah, Cap. Want me to discourage them? Not yet. Let them commit first. Rex turned to Vorn. Your ship has mining lasers, correct? Yes, but they're not weapons. Tom. Rex called out. The red-haired human popped his head back onto the bridge. Can you weaponize mining lasers? Tom's grin was unsettling. Give me 10 minutes and some duct tape. You have 5. Deal. Tom disappeared again. Not an alarm sounded. They're coming. The sensor operator announced. Both ships, attack vector. Rex didn't seem concerned. He watched the display like he was watching a game. They're using a standard pincer movement. Textbook, really? He touched his ear again. Mike, target the one on the left. Just engines. The Thunderstrike fired another kinetic round. The pirate ship on the left suddenly lost power to its main engines and started drifting. How did you know they would? Vorn started. Pattern recognition, Rex said. Humans are good at patterns. It's how we hunted on Earth. Track the prey, learn its habits, predict where it will go. The remaining pirate ship kept coming. It fired everything it had at the Thunderstrike, but the human vessel's shields held. They're trying to board. The security chief shouted. Breach pods incoming. 3 pods struck the Silver Wing's hull. Rex checked his weapon and smiled. It wasn't a pleasant smile. Finally, he said, I was getting bored. The counterattack. First breach pod burst open in Cargo Bay 2. 6 pirates poured out, weapons raised. They were Kellen's 7 feet tall, covered in natural armor plating, with 4 arms that could each hold a weapon. They made it 3. Steps before Tom's first mine went off. The explosion wasn't what killed them. It was the thousands of metal ball bearings that followed, churning the cargo bay into a blender. When the smoke cleared, there wasn't much left to identify. Breach. Team 1 is down, Tom reported over comms. His voice was casual, like he was giving a weather report. The second breach came through the maintenance deck. This team was smarter. They sent in a scanner drone first, checking for traps. When they found none, 8 pirates rushed in. Rex was waiting for them. The first pirate rounded the corner and took 2 bullets to the chest. The impacts threw him backward into his companions. The second tried to raise his weapon, but Rex had already moved. The human grabbed the pirate's arm, twisted, and the bone snapped like dry wood. A knife appeared in Rex's other hand, finding gaps in armor that should have been impossible to spot. The pirates had every advantage. Greater numbers, bigger size, natural armor. It didn't matter. Rex moved through them like water through rocks. He never stopped moving, never stayed in one place. A pirate would aim where he was, only to find him somewhere else. Every movement flowed into the next. Every strike was precise, economical, lethal. In 40 seconds, 8 pirates were down. Rex wasn't even breathing hard. Breach Team 2 eliminated, he reported. The third breach pod hit the medical bay. The pirates who emerged found Maya standing between them and the wounded. She held no weapon, just stood there with her hands at her sides. You need to leave, she said quietly. The lead pirate laughed. It was a wet, gurgling sound. Little human thinks she can stop us? We'll take you as a prize. The slave markets pay well for humans. Maya's expression didn't change. This is a medical bay. These beings are under my care. You need to leave. The pirate raised his weapon. Maya moved. Later, the security footage would need to be slowed down to see what happened. Maya's hand shot out, hitting the pirate's wrist. The weapon went flying. Her other hand struck his throat. As he gasped, she grabbed his head and twisted. A crack was audible across the room. The second pirate tried to grab her. Maya flowed around him, her foot sweeping his legs. He fell, and her elbow struck the back of his head on the way down. He didn't get up. The third actually managed to touch her, grabbing her arm. Maya didn't resist. Instead, she moved with the grab, using the pirate's own strength against him. He flew over her shoulder and hit the wall. She followed, her knee. Finding his temple. 20 seconds. 3 pirates down. Maya walked back to her patients and continued treating them. Anyone else want to interrupt my work? She asked the remaining pirates. They ran. On the bridge, Vorn watched the security feeds in shocked silence. His entire crew was speechless. These 3 humans had eliminated 22 pirates in less than 3 minutes. Captain Rex, the communications. Officer stammered, "Commander Krell is hailing us." Krell was the leader of the Crimson Fang pirates. His image appeared on the view screen, a massive Zakari with cybernetic enhancements and scars covering his scaled hide. "Humans," he snarled. "You think you've won? I have 50 ships in this sector. I'll bring them all here. You'll burn for this." Rex looked at the screen with mild interest. 50 ships? That's adorable. He touched his ear. "Hey, Mike, did you hear that? He has 50 ships." The voice from the Thunderstrike laughed. "Should we tell him?" "Might as well." Rex turned back to the screen. "Commander Krell, I should probably mention something. We're not military. We're search and rescue. Retired folks, mostly. We just happen to be in the area." Krell's eyes narrowed. "You lie. Scout's honor," Rex said. "But here's the fun part. When we picked up the distress call, we weren't alone. There's a human colony ship about an hour from here. Big thing, carrying about 10,000 settlers." "You know what colony ships have?" Krell said nothing. "Security escorts?" Rex continued. "Military ones. Real soldiers, not old-timers like us. I'd say you have about." He checked his wrist display. 40 minutes before they get here. "Unless, of course, I call them and tell them to hurry. Then you'd have maybe 20. "You're bluffing," Rex shrugged. "Maybe. Want to find out?" He smiled. That unpleasant smile again. "Oh, and Krell? Tom found your slavehold manifests in your computer system. You've been selling people." The temperature on the bridge seemed to drop 10 degrees. "That changes things," Rex said. His voice had lost all warmth. "We really don't like slavers." The Revelation Commander Krell cut the transmission. "On me." Tactical display. Dozens of hyperspace signatures began appearing. The pirate fleet was arriving. Vorn felt his heart stop. Both of them. 50 ships, he whispered. "They'll destroy us all." Rex didn't look concerned. "Tom, how are those mining lasers coming?" "Almost done." Tom's voice came back. "Just need 30 more seconds and maybe a prayer or two. Maya, casualty report?" "All wounded stabilized. I've trained their medic in basic trauma treatment. These pirates use chemical rounds. Nasty stuff, but treatable if you know how." Rex nodded and touched his ear. "Mike, wake up the pack. Time to go to work." 3 more hyperspace windows opened. The ships that emerged made Vorn's crew gasp. They were warships. Real ones. Not converted freighters or stolen patrol boats like the pirates used. These were human military vessels, dark and angular, built for one purpose: destruction. "This is Captain Walker of the Vengeance." A female voice came through all channels. "Commander Krell, you are engaged in piracy and slavery. Surrender immediately or be destroyed." 3 ships against 50? Krell's voice boomed back. "You? Humans are insane." 4 ships, Rex corrected. "Don't forget about us." Actually, another voice joined. "Make that 7. 3 more human ships dropped out of hyperspace. 10, said another voice as more appeared. The pirates' tight formation began to waver. Their ships started pulling back, creating distance. "You said you were search and rescue." Krell accused. "We are," Captain Walker replied. "We all are. Every human ship you're looking at is crewed by volunteers. Former military who couldn't stand the thought of people calling for help with no one answering. We patrol the dead zones, the places nobody else will go." "But here's what you don't understand," Rex added. "Humans who volunteer for search and rescue. We're the ones who were too good at war. We needed to find another purpose, or we'd lose ourselves. So we save people now. But the skills..." He paused. "The skills never go away." On the tactical display, The human ships were moving. It should have been Chaos 10 ships against 50, but there was a pattern to it. They moved like a wolf pack, each ship knowing exactly where the others would be. Tom's voice crackled over comms. Mining lasers are online. Fair warning, I may have overdone it a bit. Define overdone, Rex said. The Silver Wing's mining lasers fired. The beams were supposed to be yellow, meant for cutting asteroids. They came out blue-white, 10 times their normal intensity. The nearest pirate ship's shields collapsed instantly, and the beam carved through its hull like butter. Tom, Rex shouted. I said I overdid it. The pirate fleet opened fire. Energy beams filled space in a deadly light show. But the human ships were already moving, accelerating at rates that should have killed their crews. They dove and twisted, making the pirates' targeting computers useless. Then the humans fired back. Not energy weapons. Kinetic rounds, missiles, and something else, small pods that attached to pirate hulls and burned through them with plasma. How are they predicting our movements? One pirate captain screamed over open channels. His ship exploded a second later. Captain Walker answered him. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. We learned to think like our prey, to know where they'd run before they did. You're using Algorithm 7 for your evasion pattern. It's in every piracy manual. You might as well be standing still. The battle, if it could be called, that lasted 12 minutes. 30 pirate ships were destroyed. 15 surrendered. 5 tried to run and were crippled before they could enter hyperspace. Commander Krell's flagship hung dead in space, its engines destroyed, weapons offline. I yield. Krell's image appeared on every screen. Behind him, his bridge was in ruins. I surrender. The conventions of war state. You're slavers, Rex cut him off. The conventions don't apply to you. For the first time, real fear appeared in Krell's eyes. You can't just execute us. We're not going to execute you, Captain Walker said. We're going to take you back to Earth. You'll stand trial in front of the families of every person you sold. And if you're very, very lucky, they'll vote for life in prison instead of something worse. What could be worse than life in prison? Maya's voice came over the comm, soft but carrying. Being handed over to the humans you sold. We keep very good records, Commander. We know where every one of them went. We'll find them all. And when we do, we'll ask them what should happen to you. The bridge of the Silver Wing was silent. Thorne's crew stared at the devastation on their screens. 50 pirate ships, the terror of the sector, destroyed or captured by 10 human vessels in less time than it took to eat a meal. Captain Vorn, Rex said, appearing on the bridge. Your ship needs repairs. We'll help with that. Maya will stay until your wounded are recovered. Is there anything else you need? Vorn found his voice. Why? Why do you do this? Risk your lives. For strangers? Rex thought for a moment. On Earth, we have something called the duty to rescue. If someone calls for help, and you can help, you must help. It's not just a law. It's who we are. But you're soldiers, warriors. You could conquer. We could, Rex agreed. Humans are very good at war. Too good. We nearly destroyed ourselves with it. So now we choose differently. The deadliest humans aren't the ones who kill. They're the ones who decide who lives. Asterisk the aftermath. The next 6 hours changed everything, Captain. Vorn thought he knew about humans. Tom worked on the Silver Wing with an enthusiasm that bordered on madness. He didn't just repair the damage, he improved everything he touched. The shields were 40% stronger. The engines ran smoother and faster. He even fixed the coffee maker in the crew lounge that had been broken for 3 years. How do you know so much about alien technology? Vorn's engineer asked, watching Tom rewire a control panel with nothing but a multi-tool and determination. Everything breaks the same way. Tom explained, not looking up from his work. Physics doesn't care what species you are. Plus, I like puzzles. Your ship is one big puzzle that someone tried to solve with explosions. In the medical bay, Maya worked alongside the ship's doctor, teaching techniques that seemed impossible. She showed him how to use ultrasound to stop internal bleeding, how to synthesize antibiotics from common ship supplies, and how to perform surgery with tools meant for cooking. Human medicine is battlefield medicine, she explained while treating. A crew member's burns. We learned by necessity. Every war taught us new ways to save lives. Every plague, every disaster, every stupid thing humans did to each other, we learned from it all. But this knowledge, the doctor said, watching her work, you share it freely? Knowledge that saves lives should never be secret, Maya replied. That's another human rule. Rex coordinated the recovery operation from the bridge. Human ships had captured over 300 pirates and recovered 47 beings who were being held for sale. Each rescued soul was checked, treated, and offered transport home. You'll bankrupt yourselves, Vaughan said, calculating the fuel costs alone. Taking all these people home, providing medical care, repairs, were funded by voluntary contributions, Rex explained. Every human colony, every ship, every station, they all chip in. Some give money, some give supplies, some volunteer their time. It's not much individually, but together, ... He shrugged. Together, we can answer every call. The communications. Officer approached nervously. Captain Rex, we're receiving numerous inquiries from other vessels. Word of what happened here is spreading. They want to know if the stories are true. What stories? That humans attacked 50 pirate ships to save one merchant vessel. That you ask for no payment. That you ... The officer hesitated. That you treat everyone equally, regardless of species. Rex looked genuinely puzzled. Of course we treat everyone equally. Why wouldn't we? Because, Vaughan said softly, no one else does. The strong species dominate. The weak serve. That's how it's always been. Not with humans, Rex said firmly. On Earth, we learned something important. The smallest virus can kill the strongest. Human, the weakest person might have the idea that saves everyone. Strength isn't about size or power. It's about what you choose to do with what you have. Alarm chimed. Another distress signal. Cargo hauler under attack, the communications officer reported. 2 sectors over. They're requesting immediate assistance. The human ships were already moving. We're pretty banged up, Captain Walker's voice came through. But we can make it in 30 minutes. Thunderstrike has some hull damage, Mike reported. But we're good to go. I can stay here, Maya offered. Continue helping their wounded. I'll leave Tom too, Rex decided. He'll get your ship running better than new. He turned to Vaughan. Captain, spread the word. Any ship in distress, any being who needs help, tell them to call for humans. We'll answer. But why? Vaughan asked one more time. Why do you care so much? Rex paused at the airlock. You know what Earth is like? Our home world? A death world. Gravity too high, weather too extreme, predators everywhere. All true, Rex nodded. But you know what the biggest danger on Earth was? Other humans. For thousands of years, we were our own worst enemy. We developed weapons that could end all life. We fought wars over stupid things, land, resources, which imaginary. Friend was better. He looked back at Vaughan. Then we reached the stars and found other life, found people who needed help. And we realized something. All those skills we developed to kill each other, we could use them to save people instead. Every warrior could be a protector. Every weapon could be a shield. That's why the deadliest humans answer rescue calls, Rex continued. Because we know what we're capable of. We know the monster we could be. So we choose to be something else. We choose to be the ones who arrive when everyone else has given up hope. The human walked through the airlock, heading back to his ship. Within minutes, the human fleet jumped to hyperspace, racing toward another ship in distress. Vorn stood on his bridge, watching the empty space where they'd been. His communications officer was already spreading the story through the network. Within hours, it would reach every corner of the galaxy. The deadliest species unknown. Space had evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day. They'd developed weapons that could crack planets and strategies that could topple empires. They were faster, stronger, and more resilient than anyone had imagined, and they used all of that to save strangers. "Captain," his navigator said, "I'm picking up another distress signal. Different direction, but close enough that we could set course," Vorn ordered without hesitation. "Sir, but we're a merchant ship." We do now," Vorn said. "The humans showed us something important. Being strong isn't about what you can destroy. It's about what you choose to protect." He stood straighter, all four arms clasped behind his back. "Besides, someone has to help until the humans arrive." Across the galaxy, the story spread. Ships that would have been lost were saved. Pirates learned to fear the response more than the profit. Slavers found no safe harbor. And in the dark spaces between stars, where hope had once gone to die, beings in distress learned to speak two words that meant salvation was coming. Call humans. Because the deadliest humans in the galaxy had chosen to be something more powerful than conquerors. They'd chosen to be guardians, and they always answered the call. The end. Asterisk.